Hey guys, welcome to the video. If you're new around here, my name's Brian, and this is Hog Shooter Hot Rods, and we are entering into part 2 of installing a Serpentine pulley setup on my old 72 C10. If you missed part 1, I'll put a link down in the description to go back to that video. Maybe throw a card up here so you can just click on it and go watch that and see. All right, here's the little fitting in the back of the power steering pump, and we're going to bust that out of there with impact. I said may have to take the bracket off first. All right, you take all the bolts out of the back and then lubricate up everything. I greased around the O-ring here, and then we're just going to take it and kind of try to visually line it up where we think it should go, and then flip it over and say, oh, that doesn't even come close. Find the big hole. There we go. All right, I can do that. Then I can use that valve just to kind of help me line it all up. Then we have to put these two studs in. The one with the shoulder is on the bottom. The one without the shoulder is on the top. And I'm just gonna tighten these three kind of evenly and tap the top of it with a mallet to get it to go back together. So I thought I would be further along, but now I have the shroud pulled up. I have the pulley on for the water pump. The power steering pulley is pressed on. It fits nicely. I have the tensioner on, or I'm sorry, one of the idlers. The tensioner is here, and a C compressor is bolted in place. We're running into issues with the fan diameter, so let's look at that real quick. So here is the stock fan that I pulled out of the truck. This isn't really a 72, it's like probably off a 74 or something like that. But when I pull a tape measure across the blades, I end up with roughly 17 and a quarter, somewhere in there, going across as close as we can tell. So this is the fan that came off of the 4.3 liter V6. Pretty beefy looking. So I'm going to flip it over so I can actually measure kind of across it a little bit easier. And it is coming in at 18 and a quarter. So that's pretty crazy that the V6 fan is an inch larger diameter. And then here is one that they say this is one for a V8, but apparently this is a light duty cooling model, and it is coming in there about that original fan size, about 17 and a quarter. It's funky because it's like 5-bladed, but I guess it's balanced, it works. That's what they advertise. I'm kind of torn. I was seriously considering coming in and just cutting a 1/2 inch off each one of these fan blades, kind of rounding them and repainting them and putting this on. And it'll clear the shroud if I do that, but right now it's hitting the fan shroud because it's just a little bit too big. I think this one might fit, but I don't really like the 5-blade design. I mean, I don't know. So, I'm going to think about that a little bit before I actually do it. Options are good, right? Yeah. I picked the cut a 1/2 inch off of each one of those blades, and they turned out well. I just cut it with 10 snips. I marked it first with a scribe, cut it with 10 snips, then ground to that mark and rounded the ends, and then went back with a file and smoothed them all up, so yeah, nobody gets cut. They're nice and smooth now. So we are back on a different day, and I have some work done here. Been having to do a little researching on the old internet for my new alternator setup. So we've got a resistor in here, and after doing some searching on the computer, I ended up at the 47 to 72 Chevy Trucks forum, and they had I believe the correct information to hook this alternator up to make it charge. I had to repin one wire in the connector that I had, move the wire that is the sensing wire up to the top connection, put the brown wire or the field exciter wire right there, left it in the same place actually, and then add some resistance into the circuit. They give you a huge range. You can go anywhere from 500 ohm 1/2 watt resistor down to like 82 ohm 5 full watt resistor. So huge range there. I just found something that would work in the middle. All right, guys, hey, when you're wiring in your alternator plug, you have to do a little fancy stuff, and I want to make sure I give a shout out to his username is VetBet on the 47 to 72 Chevy Truck Forum online. Awesome write-ups there by him, and this is kind of what I came up with from that side on what I needed to do to the plug. So this is a 4-wire plug, and it is the oval shape. So this alternator is a CS130D style alternator. From the factory, these two lines are used, or connect parts of the connector, and these two are not. The terminals are there in your alternator. There's 4 of them. So this L terminal, we hook that wire up to a resistor that has a value anywhere from 85 ohm 5 watt to 500 ohm 1/2 watt. And I believe the one I used was a 470 ohm because that's a common size. And then you will just put that in series, and then that's the wire that goes back to your dash light. Okay. Need the dash light to excite the little field winding so the thing will charge. And then the S terminal, I had to move from here to this in the connector itself. That wire is your sensing wire, so S for sensing, kind of help you remember. It goes to 12 volt ignition on power. Okay, ignition on, not constant. You want to make sure when you wire this stuff in that your coil wire is not tied into any of these circuits at all, because if it is, you could possibly backfeed into that coil from the alternator. So as the engine's spinning, it's generating 12 volts, and it continuously supplies that to your coil, and your key no longer shuts your vehicle off. So just a little side note, do your homework, make sure everything's good. My truck charged good before with the old 12SI. I just needed to change all those brackets around so I could put a more modern AC compressor on without having to deal with all the old brackets that everybody just threw away. So I hope you can see this is like all the extra wiring from moving the alternator over to the driver's side. This is the plug for the 12SI style alternator, and we're going to be switching to this. It's a CS130D style alternator, and this is just one that I had laying around. It's actually clocked wrong for This truck, it should be turned back the other way, so the plug is on this side. But it was going to be really complicated to take it apart. I tried to take it apart and turn it, and I couldn't get the field winding to come loose on the inside. So I'm going with it just like this. It's only that much more wire added into the loom. I already have the fusible link butt connected into my charging wire that goes to the battery. I just showed you my connector with the resistor in line. I'm going to clip this. We're going to clip these and get it put together. Get the soldering iron hot, guys. All right, so you remember that one chrome water neck that you got to not leak? Well, guess what? You got to replace that to put this setup on. You can see there's the part number for the upper rad hose. Comes up here. Bought both of those from O'Reilly's because you have to have it come in straight like that. Maybe if you used an old style filler, you'd be cool. You can see the compressor's mounted. All of the hoses are on. All the bolts are back up inside here where the fan lives. The fan spins freely in the shroud. I bolted those AC lines up to the compressor just because it was easier to tape them up like that. And then you saw we got our water neck in, got our alternator on there all wired up. She charges properly. Got our wiring. It's a little bit cleaner. I do have brand new plug wires to put on here, and I'm going to clean up the rest of those wires you see hanging about there. That was all part of getting this thing going. So fuel line was kind of wonky. I'm going to rework that. Maybe throw a piece of rubber fuel line on it and get it zip tied up to something so it can't just dangle there. But it does work for right now. So hey, we got to take this thing out and give it a test drive real quick because it's getting late and we got a car show to go to tomorrow. Hey. Hey guys, we're gonna shut her down right now, okay? As you can see, it got really dark outside. I still have to wash this truck tonight. Wouldn't make a good power wash video at all. So I'm gonna stop here so I can edit and wash and then wake up early and go to a car show tomorrow. So whatever you're doing, I hope you're having fun doing it. I appreciate everybody watching my videos. Give this dude a thumbs up if you like the content. Maybe consider subscribing to the channel. We'll catch you on the next one.